Every person, shop, or retailer with a federal license to sell guns in Tennessee is scrolling beside me. You can see it's more than 1,700. The federal government tracks when guns they sell are later used in a crime, sell too many crime guns, and the feds flag the seller, put them on a list, and send them this letter. Tonight, the purpose of the list and of the 8 sellers flagged around the Knoxville area, one dealer we reached agreed to an interview.
Just a compact Glock semi-automatic 9mm.
Brisk business driven by gun sales in the thousands.
From a business perspective, it was something we'd never seen before.
That's why this firearms dealer in Knoxville says federal authorities flagged them in 2020, adding Harvey's Pistol and Pawn to a gun crime watch list.
Probably March, the pandemic, if you will, March of 20, for about 18 months, it was almost like Black Friday in here every day. And we're just a small little gun shop here in Knoxville, Tennessee. If anything, it's really people that are selling a lot of firearms wind up on that list is what I find.
Harvey's Pistol and Pawn is one of more than a half dozen gun sellers in the Knoxville area and more than 1,300 across the country, targeted by what's called the Demand To Letter program. Right now, the Federal Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives sends letters to a small fraction of all gun sellers nationwide, specifically sellers who had 25 or more firearms traced to them in the previous calendar year with a time to crime calculation of 3 years or less, meaning from the time they purchased the firearm to the crime was a window of 3 years.
If you sell a large number of firearms, they're going to circulate through the public, and when something bad happens with one, it's going to get traced back to the guy who sold it first, and nobody's going to know how many hands it was in between at that time, or in between the time to crime.
Every day, over 300 or so are injured by gun violence.
Leaders with the group Brady, a gun violence prevention nonprofit, pushed to make the ATF gun trace list public.
This list alone provides notice to gun dealers that are selling large quantities of crime guns with short time to crimes that they are among less than 2% of dealers that are selling in those types of quantities. And what, again, that tells us is that it's about primarily about business practices and not a factor of volume.
If you appear on this list as a gun seller, it should be a red flag to you about your business practices from your perspective.
From our perspective, yes. And a responsible gun dealer would take a look at its inclusion on this list and say, how can I do better?
That list doesn't affect how we scrutinize our customers.
This gun store owner says turning customers away is in their best interest if the buyer fails to correctly fill out a federal form, pass a background check, or if the seller at the counter suspects a buyer is making a straw purchase. For people who don't know what a straw buyer is, explain that.
A straw purchase is a felony, and it is when someone knowingly purchases a firearm that is not for themselves.
In practice, the consequence for firearm sellers on the Demand To list is more paperwork. In addition to a yearly list of gun sales, dealers must also send updates every quarter to the ATF.
Outside of just doing what's right, which is important to us as godly people, we have every incentive not to screw this up, yeah.
Why do you think other gun shops are not willing to talk about this?
It's dangerous. It's dangerous to have opinions today.
And this gun shop owner says he's in the protection business, protecting his livelihood, protecting his customers, and protecting the public.
We make plenty of money doing the right thing, and that's how we want to do it, and we're on the list anyway.
In a written statement to 10 News, the ATF says the Demand To Letter program does enhance public safety by tracking trends and patterns for transferred firearms. But the agency also says it does not mean sellers in the program have engaged in any wrongdoing, noting a number of factors, including geography, sales volume, secondary market transfers by an original lawful purchaser, and the level of sophistication of firearm traffickers may be involved in a traced crime gun.